Welcome to the Intimate Chat with Retailers, continuing the conversation. Our moderator for the series is Ellen Lewis. For those who are not familiar with Ellen, she is the publisher of the Lingerie Briefs and has been in the intimate apparel industry for over 35 years, working on both the retail and manufacturing sides of the business. Ellen's love of the written word and her determination to support the specialty store business inspired her to create the Lingerie Briefs in 2009. When COVID first happened back in March, I reached out to Ellen to discuss an idea we had at Curve for a webinar. We wanted to offer some comfort and encouragement to the retailers whose doors had recently shut. Our Intimate Chat with Retailers launched on May 13th with 8 store owners sharing honest stories about their struggles and successes throughout the pandemic. Our last series of 2020 brings together 8 retailers evaluating what they learned this year, what they might have said to their future self, and we decided that a one-on-one conversation with each retailer would give us more in-depth answers. Today's webinar, we will meet with Stephanie Jacket of Le Bustier Lingerie in Washington, D.C., Katia and Paul Sanchez of Dentille Fine Lingerie in Carmel, California, Kim Berger of Lion's Lair with 2 stores in Florida, Lashunda Vaughn of Pretty Moments in Blue Ash, Ohio, Mariana Hassan of Bra Chic in Ottawa, Canada, Shelley Magnagon of Bella Intimates in Rye, New Hampshire, Yvonne Alicia of Eve's Lingerie in Granite Bay, California, and Kathy Dane of the Dane Shop in Morristown, New Jersey. Here's Ellen.
Today we are presenting our 5th Intimate Chat hosted by Curve Connect. Since last May, I have spoken personally to at least 35 stores. In fact, it has been the one silver lining, bonding the community and supporting each other with our feelings, ideas, solutions, and forethoughts. We are treading water at this moment, but there appears to be some hope on the horizon. Patience seems to be the saving grace. Once again, 8 panelists, especially store owners, will share some of their thoughts about their trials and tribulations during the past 9 months. This time, I asked them this question to start the conversation. What would you have done differently before COVID struck if you knew then what you know now? Today, we will share their stories. Stephanie Le Bustier is an interesting hidden gem, 7 years old, located on a 2nd floor of a neighborhood shopping street and catering to career women. Because your customer is clearly a destination shopper, they value being in the store. Although you did some reaching out, your focus was on the end game. What I found interesting about your approach is how you handled grants, how you managed to secure so many and how you used them. You came out of this with no invoice debt, no rent debt, and a very well-honed website. Your conscious decision to use this money in this manner instead of running ads and etc. has put you right up back on track. Can you elaborate this, because it's a unique position from some of the other ways I've heard people speak?
Oh, sure. I mean, initially, when we went into shutdown, I think like everybody else, we were thinking it's not going to be that long. It's probably going to be a couple weeks, a month. We didn't foresee shutting down for 3.5 months. And primarily, most of my clients come to me. I don't have, I have a website, but I don't do a lot of online sales. And so I thought in the initial period that, what am I going to do? Because I don't have this heavy e-commerce. There's things on there, gift certificate, little accessories. What do I need to do to make sure that I was able to come out of this without, having a lot of overheads? And one of the first thing I did was I talked to my landlord, of course, and he initially gave me a break for April and May. And the next thing that I looked into was the grants, because DC had a bunch of grants that they were giving out to small businesses, and also primarily every grant that came into my email I applied for, because I figured that if I get these grants as much as I can get, then I would be able to cover my invoices, my rent, and any bills that I have outstanding. And, you know, once we're open, I wouldn't be able to have all that debt and be stressing about it. So from the get-go, I decided that I was going to apply for the PPP. I applied for a local DC grant. I also applied for a Facebook grant. I also applied for bread. I think it's called bread backpack grant. Local, some other local grants, business grants, but every grants that came in my email box, I primarily decided I'm going to apply, because with this money, I'll be able to help set up myself a little bit better than, you know, the start of the pandemic.
Can I ask you, only because I've never heard of it before, what exactly was the Facebook grant?
Facebook had a grant that was for small business. Of course, you had to meet the criteria, and you didn't have to supply a lot of information. Primarily what they were asking for was, you know, if you're a small business, if you're minority owned, if you have how many employees, if you make a certain amount last year for 2019, or cost of goods. Someone sent it to me, and I am part of the Adams Morgan Business Development. So I'm one of their board members. So I do get a lot of stuff.
Can you elaborate what that, can you
So the
elaborate?
Adams Morgan Business Development, it's a local bid, and primarily we work for all the taxpayers, like the retail business, the commercial business, and residential. They all pay a tax to this bid, and that money goes into helping to develop the bid, the area, like bringing, you know, marketing the area for people to visit, help to keep the area clean, help to provide security through local to the local PD. And so we work in the area to help small business and renters, help them to make the area better, because Adams Morgan was once known, it is known as a party area, and it used to be on the weekends, it would get so rowdy. So we had this bid that does all this work to help improve, to make Adams Morgan area safe, to bring in business, daytime business, as well as nighttime business, to just help the community to thrive. So through that, I was able to get a lot of emails of different people, like the Chamber of Commerce had a grant, Facebook had a grant. I think I got like 2,500, and really they want you to use this grant either to do advertising on Facebook, or you could use it towards your website. You could use it to pay rent. There wasn't any restriction in what you could use it to.
So basically, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me.
Yeah, so there wasn't much of a restriction of what you could use it for. And so it really helped me, because I was able to boost my website and connect my Instagram shopping to the website.
Is your website now e-commerce?
Yes, it was always e-commerce, but there wasn't a lot of products on there.
Okay.
Because primarily most of our traffic comes into the store. And it still does, because I still have people who go on the website, see something, but they want to come in and try it on.
Right.
So a lot, up to yesterday, I had one case, and I asked her, why didn't she just purchase it online? And she's like, well, she wanted to come in and fit. But I was able to update my website because it needed to do that. So I was able to use that money to build up my website a little bit.
So I don't know if this is a unique situation because of where you're located, but it sounds to be the first time that I've actually spoken to someone who had what I would call very local grants, not just the ones that the government in general was offering. So that sounds great. Who are your key? One question I have is, you're back open now and things are okay?
Yeah, things are okay. We're not as busy as pre-pandemic. However, I'm finding that my clients are spending more
It's
per
common,
transaction
yeah.
than they would normally. So we're doing okay. I mean, I'm down from where we were. I think everyone is, but I'm doing okay because
And vendor wise, I mean, who's your key vendors? Like, and who, you know, how are you
so
doing? Have you made changes?
so my key vendors are Maison Leisure B, Abad, Curvy Kate, and they were able, I mean, I had outstanding invoice, and once I got those grants, I was able to pay those off. But they've been very accommodating in the sense that they I think Abad gave us discounts from the stuff that we had ordered for spring, or pre-fall or whatever. And so they gave us discount, which was really nice. And it was a good discount. And if you take those items, they would give you a discount. Curvy Cake gave us an extended uh terms, credit
Mhm.
terms. So most of them, and they were very accommodating in the sense that they know we were closed, they know we weren't doing any business. So um and Leisure, they extended our credit to say, we'll work with you if you have an invoice that if you need to pay half, or you can pay some amount towards it, they'll accept it, as long as they know that we were showing the initiative to pay those invoices. So they
Did
were all
you
very accommodating.
did you bring in any new brands during this period of time?
And
And will you be doing that? Have you been able to look at things? Have you been,
there are a few vendors that I've been looking at, but I probably won't do it till spring. Because I
okay,
think I had already made the decision that I would stick with what I have and the stuff that I ordered, and look at new vendors in the spring, just because I know that the fall, winter would be uncertain in terms
yeah.
of COVID, and just looking out and figuring that, not knowing exactly what's going to happen. It's probably be on the safe side to just put that off. So,
Anybody in particular that you're interested in?
um, there are a few, but I can't remember them right
Ah,
now.
okay, okay. So, well, thank you very much for participating in this.
I also think that the other thing that I think a lot of shop owners may not know is that there's a lot, like I got a lot of information and grants from DC SCORE, it's a small business department. Um, and they sent out a lot of information, like the Chamber of Commerce had grants. There is a there was a global, I can't remember the exact name of the grant, but that was just for women-owned business. Like, I applied for it and I didn't get it, but they put us in the next bucket for us, because the first round went, and some people got it, some people, and then the people who applied didn't get it, they put us in the second round for it when it comes back around. But a
Right,
lot of the grants and stuff that I found out about, not loans, but grants, because grants you don't have to pay back. And I
right.
was more interested in those because, of course, I didn't want to have the debt going forward, was coming from the small business administration, and Chamber of Commerce and places like that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for giving, that's very interesting information, and I'm happy that you shared it. I don't know what other stores, everybody applied for something, but I don't know what.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
outside of the PPP, and I mean, I applied for the EDIL, but I did that after the fact. And I did it only as a reserve, because I'm like, if we had to go down into a shutdown again, then I would at least have that money to as reserve. But the grants and stuff was my main goal, because I figured that if I can get those money as income, then I could have it to pay off my debt. And once things get back, then I wouldn't
Okay.
have to be worried so much. Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thank you for
Of course.
participating. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Hi, Katya. Katya, what I would love to chat with you about is your statement to me about how COVID provided an quote unquote unfortunate silver lining, how it forced you to really up the ante online and build an e-commerce site. I know that you did many of the things that the other stores did, keeping in touch with your customers, but one thing I found particularly interesting in your efforts was your lingerie box initiative. So can you explain that and talk a little bit about the silver lining?
Sure. When we our store got shut down, as many others in the country, we were thinking, how can we stay in touch with our clients? And while we were building the website, which is, I thought, it should be number one thing to do. We had that in mind for a long time. We just never had time to, to build it out, e-commerce on our website. So while we were building it, I reached out to my regular trusted clients and said, I'm going to put together a lingerie box for you. So it's kind of that virtual private shopping experience. And I'll put it together and I'll ship it to you at my expense, and you can try things on, see what you like, keep what you like, and what didn't work, you can send back. So that's how I stayed in touch for, a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, bear in mind, almost no box came back.
Yes. Almost.
That's great. So what was in the box? Like, give me an example of like the degree of the price tag, the
That's
equivalent.
kind of intimate, Ellen.
Was it specific to a customer, or did you come up with a concept that you did all the time? What did you do?
Well, I stayed, we all know our customers. So I stayed in the path of what she likes, whether she likes certain brand or she likes more of the, loungewear, sleepwear, more sexier items, or maybe more of the basics. So I will look at the profile and see what, over the course of a couple of years, what she was buying, or maybe throw in another item, kind of like take her a little bit in a different path as well, and just see how she, reacts. So, and then would have a conversations over the phone, and sometimes we even did the FaceTime. So every day I would go down the list of my clients and just, trying to work with them.
So do you mind me asking, what was the average price point at retail?
Of the box?
Yeah.
Between 500 and 1,000.
Wow. And nothing came back.
No, well, a couple items,
One
but
or two
majority,
items, for the most. Yeah, about 98% of them stayed out there.
That's
and
great.
I would also look at the, at the sales report, and I would include something a little bit more, something a little bit extra. Let's say a client spend, a certain amount of money, so I will add, a little bit more to it. And I've got great response. People were saying, oh my God, here we are at our homes, we're our families, we can't leave, and we have this beautiful package arriving at our doorstep,
It's like getting flowers. Yeah.
Yes, and I would include a personal note, and was very thankful and fortunate to have them, support me during this difficult time.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
so
thankfully these items, Ellen, last longer than flowers.
yes, I know, but it's the same feeling, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. Did you, what's been the ramifications as you've opened up? Are the lingerie box customers, have they come back in? Is it too soon because you sent them the box? Have they bought things they didn't buy before because of the box? And are you going to continue this because now you're open, right?
We are open now. We are open, and we have been very busy, so now customers, since they can, go to the store and make an appointment. When we first opened, we did appointment only. And that actually worked really well because you could spend, time one-on-one with a customer. So that worked as well. And it made them feel more comfortable as well. You know, I mean, during COVID, so we can properly clean before and after. So we did that. And no, some of them buying things that I suggested. It's kind of, the lingerie box was sort of like somebody will come and shop in store. You suggest different things if you have a new line or something different that you think will work for the customer. So with my customers that's out of the area, I still do the box and I mail my orders to them. And some people who can travel to the store, they come.
Right, and we should clarify for the viewers that your store is in a very upscale area.
Very
so
prominent.
Right, but you have a very upscale customer, and she wants to get out of that house. And you said to me on the phone that she has to drive around she drives around just to get out. So it's a destination almost. You're lucky that way. You're lucky that way. Okay, thank you. Well, one last question. We talked about the silver lining, and I'm guessing the silver lining isn't that different than a lot of the other stores I've spoken to who kept talking about wanting a website but never did anything about it. It gave you that opportunity to really amp that up, I'm assuming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
In 10 days too, Ellen. It took her 10 days to build that website, that e-commerce site.
Who's got the background in the web, or was it?
I do.
Okay, so that's probably why it only took 10 days.
I'm the pusher.
That's probably why it only. Okay, is there anything else that you want to say about what you would do now that you didn't do before, or what you wish you had known then?
No, the one thing, but I don't think it's the, you know, the only thing I would have done is if I would have buy a property for my business, you know. I don't know if it's around.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you.
I would buy a property for my business.
So you'd own your own space?
I would have, if I could have. You know, it's hard during shutdowns, you know, to support, not support, but, you know, pay rents, obviously, you know, and I've also heard multiple stories that really individual how landlords, they work with you or they're
or didn't work with you.
So I think that if I could, I mean, even if I knew COVID happened, I couldn't afford to buy a property, but it definitely would be on my list, you know.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Don't forget to bring back some tequila from Mexico.
Okay, I will. Hi, Kim. At last, we have your ear. You and I have worked together in the past, recapping your swim shows for Lingerie Briefs. I know that you had a robust business in the Keys and opened a second store in Gainesville last year. I have tried to get you here for several webinars, but you were feeling the ramifications of juggling 2 stores in completely different locations during the lockdown. You told me that you are less overwhelmed now and know that you are going to survive, but the path has been very shaky. Between the political climate in Florida and the impact of a never-ending storm season, this has been an uphill marathon. Your stores are very different selling cultures, experiencing vastly different attitudes towards the pandemic. How are you handling this now? I would also like to hear about the online auctions you initiated during the lockdown. I understand that you did this to sustain customer relationships and are continuing it now. Can you explain to us how that works?
Okay.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's been, actually, I want to start with the auctions because that's been carrying me through even when we couldn't be open.
Okay.
I reached out to a lot of the small vendors that I work with, the individual designers, and asked them if they had extra merchandise, like samples, things that hadn't moved, things that they'd be willing to get rid of, you know, at a much lower price. And we started a group on Facebook so that when I posted in it, it would get in front of people's faces on their feed. And we started doing auctions. So I don't make a lot of money on the auctions. I only have like a $10 markup or something, but we make a post and then customers are able to bid on an item. There's a minimum bid. And generally the minimum bid is about 1/3 of what the normal retail price would be. And they go through and in $5 increments can can make bids, and it's helped move. I've actually worked really closely with Sandy of Dream Dance, and moved out years and years and years worth of surplus merchandise that she had. And in the first month and a half of the shutdown, we had done more, I had sold more of her stuff than I think I had done in the entire year before. So we've continued doing it, and it's very labor intensive. It is not profitable in any means, but it keeps us in the face of the customer. And usually, you know, if somebody's buying a $120 dress for say $39 or $49, we charge for shipping under $200, so I can generally get them to add on something. So it's starting that conversation and then saying, well, you know, do you need any bras or do you need bathing suits? And we can add on to it, and that's where I'm making my sales. So we were doing it every week, and we've got it down now that it's like every other week we're still running the auctions, and we auction maybe 25 items a week between clothing and jewelry, and it's helping keep some of our independent designers in business during all, you know, through all this too.
You know, that's really, I think it's brilliant. I mean, I think you actually, sounds like you're keeping your customers on board, you know, with you, aware of you.
Yes.
And it sounds like it could be something that could, just a great liquefier of stock down the road.
Yeah, and that's what I want to look towards, is that when I have items that I want to put on sale or discount, we're able to put it on there and try to clear them out quickly, instead of having to have a sale rack, which, I mean, works great in the Keys store because it's such a big store, but like the High Springs store is much smaller, and I just don't have the space to have an ongoing sale rack. So we can put the items on there and try to move them. And like I said, because it's a Facebook group, when I post in it, anybody who's joined the group, it shows up on their feed right away.
Great. Okay. Well, that's an innovative concept, and I have not heard of that. And we've spoken to a great many stores, so good for you.
Thanks.
So let's get into the more sensitive issues of dealing with two stores on different planets in Florida.
So the two stores are 7 hours apart. The Keys store is in Isle Morada, which is it's about an hour and a half south of Miami. And then the High Springs store is 20 minutes outside of Gainesville, up in North Florida. Both stores have been open to the public since May, and we've had some, you know, success over the summer months with the Keys store having tourism. We have had to keep the doors locked in both locations. One, because we were short-staffed initially, but secondly, because not all of Florida is taking the pandemic seriously. It's very split 50-50. Half of the people are taking it seriously. The other half think it's a hoax, and just it's against their rights to have to wear a mask. So we operate with the doors locked so that we can make sure that everybody is complying. And if you don't want to wear a mask, then you can't come in and shop. Our dressing rooms are open, and we're, you know, sanitizing between customers, and we are being very, very careful setting up appointments, which is good for the people who are immune compromised and who are concerned about that they feel safe, that there's somewhere that they can go to. The Keys is taking it very seriously. And when you go into the Keys, there are signs saying that you have to wear a mask. And if it's up to the businesses to make sure that that's enforced. And if somebody doesn't comply, it's the business that gets fined. But everyone in the Keys is taking it seriously. So whenever I go down there, I feel very, very safe and comfortable, even to go out to a restaurant or anything, because you can sit outside, but because everybody is complying. Up here is a totally different story. I don't go out. And as a result, the other people who are taking it seriously don't go out shopping. And the only people who are out shopping are the ones who don't take it seriously. So it's kind of a catch-22.
I have
people that come to the door.
I was going to ask you. I mean, it has to be a conundrum to have just opened that store up there, so you don't have the large customer base that you have in the Keys, and you have to turn people away.
Yes.
Are they going to come back?
Right.
You know, how are you going to build your base?
Yeah, and I don't know. And unfortunately, because it's so politicized, they get very angry that you're not going to let them in, but it's just not worth the gamble in my mind, because they do take it seriously. So half of the people coming to the door don't end up coming and shopping because we won't let them in because they won't wear a mask. So
Yeah.
with building a new business, yeah, that's very, very challenging. And just the amount of traffic is greatly reduced. You know, our Keys traffic, we probably are only getting a quarter of the people coming in that we normally would. The Keys, because it's tourist based, isn't really conducive to doing appointments because it's on a whim that people are shopping. However, the people that are coming to the door are complying, and so we're able to give a really good one-on-one service, which is what we always strive for, but with less distraction, because you don't have to be, you don't have a lot of lookers coming in.
Yeah.
And the door's locked, so you don't have to keep, going and checking them. And
do you have an e-commerce site, Kim?
No, I do not.
Okay.
No, my website is homegrown, and my father wrote it with HTML 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, something like that. And it is on my to-do list of things to get a new flashy website with a shopping cart. But it's, there's not enough of me on a normal day. And this year it's just, there's definitely not enough of me.
Yeah.
So, working on it.
Well, it might help the Gainesville location, just because you might have to be able to reach beyond your borders after this is over. If people decide to be angry, I don't know if they will.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the people who do come in are very, very thankful, and they're very grateful, and they thank us for taking the precautions, and then they tell their friends. So, it's building slowly. So we'll survive it. We'll absolutely survive it. It's just, it's just a thing.
It is a thing.
Think of.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot.
Okay.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. Well, Shelley, I know your store personally. It's a beautiful fit and sleepwear boutique in a standalone location with great ties to the medical community. I know that the pandemic hit you very hard personally with the death of several friends. You basically took a personal breather from your business to find some solace. I also know that you are very focused on the breast care business with a separate space and critical Medicare and insurance ties. I know that this is a personal passion and that you were working on this intensely prior to COVID, but now, as the store begins its journey back, this business has been an excellent source of income. I am guessing it will continue growing. Can you speak a little bit about this whole initiative that you have developed at Bella, the whole medical?
Well, a few years ago, I decided that I wanted to take my business in the direction of something I was passionate about and very good at, and felt there was a real need in the community, in the area, that when a woman went through breast cancer, a big part of her healing was the journey of feeling whole again. And I thought, who better to offer that than a Profit or a Profit specialist or a boutique, kind of take the onus from the woman having to go back into the medical environment or to a DME and try and find the right fit bra and the breast form and all of that. It just kind of made sense to have an intimate boutique offer that. And so I decided to go down that journey of getting accredited, which we did in 2019 of October. And it was a couple years in the working. Being a brick and mortar and a retailer, I had to create a whole different space, but also get very fluent in administrative work and creating an operation manual and an employee manual and just different things I didn't have in my boutique, for Medicare to come in and inspect us and do an on-site survey, along with learning patient files and keeping them locked up, and HIPAA, and just a lot of regulations that go along with that. So we did get approved last October, and we went through holiday having a really good year. And I just thought I was really going to focus on it come January. And after Valentine's Day, actually, because that's my bread and butter is my intimate shop. So with that said, we were closed down probably like the middle of March, right when the Medicare business started rolling in and patients were being referred. We had to shut down for 3 months. And without knowing or anybody explaining it to me, if you don't use the Medicare website or the portal that we have to use to screen every client that comes in, you kind of fall off the face, like they just drop you. And so because there was no activity on the website, I had to create a whole new username, not just username, but a whole new account with the government to take patients in. So we're pretty much going through that. And I'm seeing a few patients a week, a lot of referrals from the surgeons in the area, plastic surgeons, breast surgeons, oncologists. So it's kind of a nice addition to the boutique because I chose not to sell online. I'm really about the experience of when you come into Bella Intimates and the one-on-one interaction with my clients and having it right for my clients that come in. So I went down the avenue of getting the business accredited and really helping women with breast cancer and other breast type surgeries. So it's been very challenging. Now we're trying to get it credentialed so we can do and take private insurance. There's a lot of women who aren't quite the age of Medicare, being 65 and older. There's a lot of younger women coming in who need the same services. And even though they could pay out of pocket, it's still quite expensive for a woman to get a breast form, basically. The bras are very affordable, but the breast forms do get expensive. So now I'm now I'm going down the road of trying to get credentialed so I can go into your Anthems and your Harvard Pilgrim and, your private insurance companies.
Now, what happened, I understand from our conversation that these insurance companies actually reimburse you for the cost of the bra, pretty much, all of it.
Correct. Well,
So
that's a challenge. That's a challenge because being an intimate boutique, like a more high, not want to say higher end, but offering a better product, is challenging to find bras that kind of fit what I'm looking for as far as the quality. There's a lot of beautiful bras out there, but for New Hampshire, and every state is different, it's all by jurisdiction, they reimburse $37 a bra. So it's challenging to find a bra where your margins are going to be decent. So I chose not to take Medicare's pricing on the bras. So basically, if I carry a $50 bra or a $60 bra, they're going to be reimbursed the $37 minus their co-insurance. So they get about $30 per bra back. I still get the full retail on it. I'm still going to charge that patient whatever the cost of the good is, but they'll recoup about $30 of that garment back. The breast forms are a little bit different. They're about $420 in the state of New Hampshire, what they're reimbursed for. So they're expensive, and insurance will pay for it. So, when you're going through something like that, being there myself, not with breast cancer, but if you have insurance, you really want it to work for you. You have so many expenses coming at you and so many different decisions to make. The insurance takes a lot of that burden off.
Okay, so now I've been in your store several times, and I know that you said you set up a whole separate room for this, but the store itself is rather interesting because it's an H shape with one half of it sleep and lounge and the other half bra fitting. Right. I just have a question. I know that you literally did nothing during the shutdown. Yeah, but you are open and people are starting to buy again. What are they buying, Shelley? I know it's not
comfort.
At your huh?
Yeah.
Comfort.
You mean the regular client walking in, the regular customer coming in?
Yes.
Yeah. So they're buying. It's a lot of comfort, pieces that make them feel good. A lot of bralettes. We do very well with the curvy and different bralettes. But there's also a small, not small piece, but there's also a part of the business that women want to feel sexy. If they're going to be home, they want color. They want to be pretty. Or they want to feel pretty, I should say. So we're seeing a combination of both, but definitely I'd say comfort's definitely a large percentage of the business.
Any particular vendors that, are doing well,
Yeah, Cosa Bell is doing well, especially for the bustier lady. We do very well, or are doing very well with the pajama, the curvy I forget the name of it, but it's the 3-piece set with the bralette, excuse me, the camisole, the pants and the robe. It's a, you know, it's a Pima cotton. It's beautiful. It feels good on. And the women get the bust support, especially if they're home with kids or they feel they can answer the door or something, you know.
Okay.
But Cosabella is doing very well with us, and we do very well with Raya and Flirt, and you know, all the Montel brands are nice for us.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else that you want to share about this whole experience you've gone through and what you've learned from it?
Well, I kind of learned, for me, myself, I lost a couple of friends, and I kind of went, I don't want to say a dark place, but for me, I don't know, I guess it was a dark place. It was tough between that and watching the news. I didn't have the motivation I typically had. And it was tough. And I feel like you got to always work your business or try and do a little bit of work every day, because it's easy to fall off and kind of say you'll get to it, or, you know, tomorrow I'll do it. And I just felt like, you know, I wasn't doing it. It was really tough. So, I think what I've learned is just stay focused and just keep working your passion, because it helps you get through everything. And
Yeah.
just, I don't know, it was tough.
Yeah. Well, I think it sounds like you're coming back to your old self. I know the old self.
Oh, I'm back. And I'm excited for
She's
holiday.
back.
And, yeah, I'm back. And I've got great clients. And, you know, throughout it, I did have a few people reach out, and they would come to the shop and they would want, you know, they would want to pick up bras, or we do it all curbside. So that's great. And that just kind of helps you get through it. You know, you feel like you're back to normal till you turn the TV on, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our numbers are just coming back now in New Hampshire. They're starting to spike again. There's a lot in actually my town that are spiking. But, you know, you just got to stay focused and do what you can to keep business good. We've cut our hours. We're 11 to 5 Tuesday through Saturday now, instead of 10 to 6.
Right.
So,
well,
and we do offer appointments and all of that. So it's good. It's all good. And I feel blessed.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Shelley. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Hi, LaShonda. How are you?
Hi, Ellen. I'm good.
Okay. Well, I've got a couple of questions for you. Maybe we'll chat a little bit about state of affairs.
Okay, sounds good.
So your store is relatively new, but you yourself have extensive fit experience, having worked in the industry for quite some time before. I think you told me Nordstrom's Fit, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so Pretty Moments is a store focused on hard to fit women.
Mm-hmm.
You saw some growth during the pandemic. One of the things I found interesting speaking with you was that you had already begun on online fittings for certain customers prior to the shutdown. The pandemic saw an expansion of that process, gaining you new customers from as far away as Louisiana, Florida, Indiana, and more. Word of mouth enhanced and is still enhancing your business. Another aspect of your efforts online included live fashion shows, which I find really interesting. And from your personal efforts to promote self-care, you took several classes, like a Zumba class online. And I know you use these venues to secure more customers too. Can you elaborate a little bit about some of these points?
Yeah, Ellen. So my business is relatively new. We opened in February 2019, but this was always a dream of mine. Like you mentioned, I started out at Nordstrom, and I was their bra fit specialist. And me being a hard to fit customer myself and being a curvy customer, it was always difficult for me to find the right size bra. So when I got hired at Nordstrom, a light bulb went off when my manager really walked me through a proper fit-in. So my passion grew so much that I decided to leave Nordstrom and go to New York to a special workshop where I learned a lot more at Curve. I was able to secure vendors and really be able to help a wide range of women. So the business is going well. So due to the pandemic, we had just had our 1-year anniversary right when the pandemic had hit. But it was strange because a lot of my customers were getting sick and they had colds, so they weren't really coming into the store and able to come in. So my place of worship, we'd already stopped meeting publicly, and we were utilizing Zoom. So I was familiar with Zoom. So before the whole city got shut down, I decided to offer some of those customers. I said, you know what, I've been using Zoom, and I think this is a good way to do your annual fit-in and show you some new products. Would you be interested? Because I know you're taking care of, your ill family members, or they weren't feeling that well. So it really took off. So when the city had shut down, I was already doing the virtual fit-in. So with Nordstrom's closed and Macy's closed, they were hitting me up like crazy to get those virtual fit-ins, because ladies were still on Zoom having conferences. A lot of ladies who work in the hospitals are still going into work, and they needed good supportive bras for those essential workers. So I did experience a lot of growth very rapidly. I would say from May till August, I gained 120 new customers. And this was literally all word of mouth. And it reached from LA to Florida, New Orleans. And it's been such an amazing experience for me that I was able to still provide that personal care for my customers. So, I mean, it's been definitely some difficult days, but I feel like me and my team, we put our heads together and we got through those hurdles.
Great. What about some of the, I love this thing you were telling me about how you decided to use your other online experiences to solicit new customers, like the Zumba class. Could you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, so let's be honest. COVID for me meant eating cookies at night. That's what I was doing. And I'm like, okay, LaShonda, you have to get it together. Your shop is closed, you're working on your computer at night, but you can't be munching on these cookies all night. So I'm trying on clothes like somebody has stolen my clothes and replaced them with too small clothes. They're all too tiny. So one of my friends was like, LaShonda, you need to do the Zumba class with me. And I'm like, a virtual Zumba? She's like, yeah, it's really good. It's really good to get some weight off and to get your, libidos going and feel really good. So I joined the class with her, and believe it or not, it was 45 ladies on this class. And they were from all over. And so after the class ended, because we can see each other in the Zoom boxes, and I'm seeing everybody bouncing up and down. I'm like, oh my goodness, they need better sports bras. I probably didn't even get through half the lessons because I'm watching everybody saying they need better support. So I talked to the instructor afterwards, and I told her that what I did, that I was a bra fit specialist, and I had some really good supportive bras that I think could help her customers. So I said, do you think I can maybe have just 5 minutes after the next class? And she said, oh, I think that's really good. So she let me speak for 5 minutes. I told them about what I did, and I said, you can go right on my website and book the appointment. After that class, I had 17 bookings just after talking to them for 5 minutes. And the ladies love, the online experience, that they're in their PJs on their couch, and we're talking, they're able to get fit. I'll share my screen, and we shop the website like they were in my store. I tell them different recommendations, colors and styles, once we get them fit.
Have you sustained those customers?
Yes, so those same customers, I just had my fashion show last week where I did a video, and I had some live models that I mailed some product to, who were willing and brave enough to model some of the lingerie pieces for me, some of my loungewear for me. So I sent a mass email to those ladies and let them know, hey, I got some new fall stuff, because this was in the summertime when I fit them. And I said, I got some new fall colors in, if you want to add to those sports bras, because they mainly bought sports bras.
Yeah.
And so I said, now is the perfect time to get into a nice, t-shirt bra or a cut and sewn bra. Some lounge bras, just to get comfy and loungewear. So the fashion show had about 70 ladies show up, and it was really good night for us. They loved the fashion show. We did a raffle. We raffled off some face masks and some cozy socks, and we played a little bra trivia game, and ladies ate it up. They truly did.
Now, are you going to continue doing this, since it's something that came out of this debacle, but it's something that looks like it works? So is this going to be an ongoing thing?
I definitely plan on keeping the virtual services available on my website, just because I was able to reach a wider audience, being able to fit ladies in other states where otherwise, if I didn't have this service, I wouldn't have been able to do that. And so now my big push is to get girlfriend parties with these ladies from out of state so they can get all the girlfriends on Zoom and they all get fit so then they can continue to tell other people in their states.
So I have a question. Are there any particular brands that did very well like this? You know, some things work better than others. I'm just curious.
Oh, yes. Definitely my Alomi and Fantasy. The Fantasy Fusion, I could not.
I've heard about that bra, yeah.
Yes, I probably sold about 30 of them. The
Wow.
red color came out and I'm like, we all, we're talking about self-care and, candles to make us feel good. And I said, lingerie does that in the most intimate way. So they were loving that red set of that fusion. And then my Alomi, with a lot of customers who are fuller or curvier, they're already lost and feel like, they've kind of been left to just fend for themselves to find the right fit. So when I fit them and then they see Alomi has beautiful colors and styles with matching panties, I don't even have to try to make the sale. I mean, it sells. The Matilda, the Charlie. I mean, they were buying 4 and 5 sets at a time. The ladies were loving it.
Do you sell sets?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Interesting, because a lot of people don't do that well with sets. Yeah.
And I said, you gotta have a pretty panty to go with a pretty bra. It only makes
Everybody
sense.
says that to me. Any loungewear? Anything like that? Any other brand?
So what did very well for me were my Notori pieces, my Notori robes. Oh, I own about 3 of them. My husband says I'm obsessed with robes. They're so soft. Just the soft fleece robe is my particular favorite. I love that the sleeves are not long, so they don't, get into my coffee or anything. So I sold a lot of robes from Notori, and I sold a lot of their 2-piece lounge sets.
Okay.
They really like those.
Okay. Well, okay, thank you. Is there anything else that you want to add to the conversation?
Just basically that this has been it's been such a dark time for our nation, I feel, and it's really helped me feel very fulfilled in my position in my job to be able to bring some sunshine to ladies, to be able to help them feel good about themselves, no matter what's going on in the world around us. Just give them 30 minutes to escape and give them that same experience that I would in the store. And that's why I say I love what I do and it doesn't feel like work.
Great. Well, thank you very much for being part of this with us.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ellen.
Hi, Eve. How are you?
Hi, Ellen. How are you doing? Happy holidays.
Thank you very much. I hope you have a good one too. I understand that your numbers are pretty good. You told me that you made the conscious decision that in order to survive, you needed to refocus your priorities in the store. So even though you were closed, you did not cut any of your employees' hours so that you could use your own personal time more efficiently. Can you explain what it was that you accomplished, including the robust online booking system that you now have in place?
Okay, well, number one, when we saw that they were going to close us down, we had just had a swim event. So we had to come together and come up with some ideas. And one of the things that the challenges that I had was that I did not have a shopping cart on my website. I never sold lingerie or anything like that on the website. So what we did was that we tried to find an e-commerce that would be able to work with our current retail program. So we found that we went with Spotify or Shopify. I'm sorry, I went with Shopify,
Right.
And so while I was focusing on the marketing part of it, reaching out to my clients in email, letting them know our plan of actions, the girls were entering the merchandise that we had in the store in Shopify. So we were able to sell online. And also we did an inventory. And when we did an inventory, we went back old school. I don't know if you remember when we had the notebook and we had our client list of what they had and what they bought. So I went back old school and I started looking at some bras that I had that could be sold. You know, I had multiple of them, or maybe I had some dead merchandise. And I started myself calling the clients, reaching out to them, and just showing that we were caring, thinking about them, and that we were planning to have a sale, and that we wanted to reach out to them. I've had this bra. I know it fits you. Would you like, you know, to have it? Before I put it on sale, I can give you a discount. So that was one of the things that I did with my clients, and they really appreciated that. They felt that we were thinking about that, about
So
them.
so Eve, you matched, you used their history, and then you matched it with the current inventory that you needed to liquidate.
Correct. I ran a report
Or-
of what the clients were in for the last, I don't know, 6 months, what they bought. And I have a very good program that's Retail Pro. So I was able to filter clients by size or by vendor or even by style. And so when I went into the filter, I checked out, okay, I have, I don't know, 4 36Gs and an Alomi. So I called one of my clients that I have on the list and she bought that, and I called her and it worked out really well. Another thing that we did was that in order to get more inventory, because remember, we were in a position like a lot of people didn't have merchandise. We couldn't get new merchandise. So I reached out to different boutiques and asked them if they had any merchandise, because they were totally closed. If they had merchandise that they wanted to consign, you know, and they worked with me. I called the lingerie shop in Loxford, and she had some bras that she couldn't sell. So I told her, hey, I have some PJs and you have some bras, so let's switch it out. And we helped each other that way. That worked really well for us, because it increased what we could offer the clients, because we weren't able to get merchandise. Another thing that we did was that we created the website, not the website, because I already had a website, but the appointments, an appointment book online. And while the girls were entering the merchandise in the system, in the Shopify, which took a long time, I was over here, you know, creating an appointment book where clients can go in and they can make their own appointments. So that worked out really well. And as soon as I got that put together, we sent out a blast email, and it really helped out, because clients felt like they can reach out. They were able to get merchandise. They were able to keep in contact with us, you know, and so that helped out a lot too. Another of the things that we did when they were telling us that we were only open for essential workers, we became a little bit creative. And I decided to reach out to Anita and ask them about the swim prosthesis, because I don't do prosthesis fittings. I won't do them. It's too emotional for me. I've had a lot of clients that have, you know, passed away because of, you know, cancer. But I thought, you know what, I can carry the swim prosthesis and I can carry the wireless bras, the wireless bras for mastectomy clients. And so that's what we did. And so that essentially made us an essential worker. And during the whole time, I was communicating with my clients. So if they ordered something online, that they ordered a bra, clients usually don't know what they buy in sizes in my store. And just because they're 36C doesn't mean they're 36C in every single brand. You know how they fit. Yeah. So we reached out to every client that did purchase online, and we would call them and say, hey, you know, you ordered this bra. I don't think it's going to be the right fit for you, but I do have this bra. And then we text them a picture of the bra, and they were like, great, send it to me. And so we just, you know, did that. And I even at that point offered them other merchandise. So
Eve, what was the return quotient on that when you did that, when you suggested a bra that they hadn't worn before, or a different size and a different brand? Did you notice an increase in returns, or did it work out?
But no, I didn't get any returns, honestly, because I've been in business 14 years. My clients are long-lasting clients, and I have their history. I know what they've bought. So based on their history, I know what styles work for them. And I kind of stayed within the styles that they've already bought. You know what I mean? So yes. I didn't have a lot of returns.
Okay, and I have one other question for you. Through this whole process, have you noticed a change in your content on what you're selling in terms of the brands, particular category of business? Have you learned something new about how to go forward in terms of your selection process, or is it pretty much status quo?
Absolutely. I think we all have to be a little bit more cautious, but I also think that we have to have new stuff in our store. Our clients know our stores and they know the merchandise that we have. And, so I do try to bring in the key brands, Prima Donna, Alomi, my Simone Perels, my lines that I always carry. And if I have a bra that like the Duville, that is an Avero that fit, I bring it in the new colorway.
Okay.
That's a safe colorway. And I try to bring in things that are not, I want to stay within the same price range, maybe $10 or $15 less. But our clients know what we bring in. And if you bring in something that's totally different, I don't think right now is a time to take risk. I really don't. But you do have to have excitement in your store. That's number one.
Okay, that makes sense. I was just curious if you had discovered a new brand or something like that, but that's okay. You're not that different than everybody.
The new brand that I really brought in new, I really did, because I saw it in the LA market, LA Curve, which I absolutely love, and I'm hoping that we can do that again, was May.
Yes,
I ordered some bras from May, and I got to tell you, the bras fit. It's a nice price point, and they work. So yes, I did bring in that line because I had seen it when I went to the Curve show, and I was interested in it, so I brought it in.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else that you think is important, or?
I think that having a good relationship with your clients, I think that let your clients know, at least me, I came up with this little signing sheet that I have for my clients that tells them in the disease and prevention procedures that we're taking, and they sign it so they know exactly what we're doing to keep them safe. We take their temperature, and that way we know that we're being safe. They know we're being safe. We're working together with other stores, and we're just reaching out to our clients and letting them know that we're here for them. And the Instagram and the Facebook and the email blasts, I think work really well. But when the constant communication is what works, and among us within the lingerie industry, we just have to have a community that works together.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ellen. You have a beautiful day, and I hope to see you soon.
Hi, Kathy.
Ellen, we'll go. Here's a toast to you. And
thank you.
The ladies from Curve and all the gentlemen owners and all of that in the audience here.
Okay.
So here's a drink to you.
Okay, thank you. So Kathy, I know you have some very strong opinions based on the number of years you've been in business. You told me about the kind of partnerships you'd had with brands like Hanky Panky in the past, and your wish, even before the pandemic, to have the brands create a stronger partnerships with specialty stores.
Right.
You mentioned that you absolutely would not let this disease get the best of you, and you did not want your customers to ever see you as weak.
Right.
To accomplish this, you stayed current with social media and your website. Is this a strategy you intend to continue as you wrestle back your business?
It's an interesting phenomenon, and you and I had spoken about it when you called me as we thought about this interview. I've been around for a long time, and I feel that I've weathered so many storms. This one, I've gone on the internet. I have canvassed other business owners to get a feel for what this is. But I did bring a crystal ball because I'm one for artifacts, by the way.
I see that. We're on our second one.
Well, I'm going to shut the light off and we'll give it some of these in a minute or two. But I just, I don't have a sure feeling this time as to where this is going to go, but I certainly can imagine some things that will help us brick and mortar stores, that if we could partner with our vendors, it would help us anticipate a future. Everything I've done in these years, I've put together a business that has morphed and changed with my customers, with the world itself. However, this time, because the internet, which has brought to view a different type of shopping, and this COVID has certainly made it everybody's style in terms of shopping, we're going to need a village. You know, we can think that we can survive on our own and come up with all these ideas. And I've listened to several of the webinars that you've sponsored and Curve has sponsored and what people have done. But it's not just us. It's not just me sitting in my office or going to my home office and thinking. It is going to need that our vendors use us, sure, as showrooms. We've always been that way, but that they funnel business in our direction. You know, there are beautiful things on the market. You can photograph a hamburger and make it delicious. But if you don't taste that hamburger or compare that hamburger, you really don't get an understanding of the flavor and the texture. So the same thing with retail. Like, now it's comfy. It's, if something is beautiful, what does it feel like? How does it feel on my body? Is it itchy? Is it this? You can't get away from the person-to-person experience in this business. You know, do I want to redesign myself to be an internet business? Not even maybe. I love working with my customers. Brick and mortar and being an entrepreneur, you combine all those things that you are and you put it in this human body and you exchange it with the person or people in front of you. That can't possibly happen over the internet. And I've been listening to social media in our industry, what they say. Oh, this fit, look at how nice, you know, channeling them to their websites. Well, that's just, well, you know, all well and fine, except I know some of those garments that they're saying are perfect. They're not. I know that there's other pieces in their catalog or inventory that are a whole lot better for my customer. So, you know, you can talk anybody into anything, you know, and that's what this world is right now. It's video like you and I would love to go to Mexico and let's go out and have a drink or put our feet in water, lay on a couple of lounge chairs and talk about, we're the same age, life, and how we've experienced it. But you can't get that touch and feel and caring from another human being through what we're doing right now. Right. You know, I can choose my words to be kind. I can fix my hair, puff it up a little, ask you, do you want glasses? No glasses. But it doesn't really bespeak what we as a business have offered people for the last 39 years.
So what do you suggest as we go through this next surge here and hopefully get out of it?
Well, I could do one or two things. I could tell you what my heart says, or I could read to you the latest thing from Harvard about brick and mortar and how businesses are having such a difficult time now. I feel that before I came on, I went through a couple of my main squeezes of my vendors. And I was surprised, I have to say, that Elomi, because I thought, oh, forget it. They have their own website and sell on their website. They don't. What they do is they talk about their merchandise, and then it asks you if you want to see inventory. And then you click on that, and then you put in your zip code, and it sends you to a store. Duh. You know, and I know that everybody's clamoring right now to be able to bring up their bottom lines. That I'm a businesswoman and I understand that. But when this, you know, shakes out and the dust settles, we've got to be able to work together, vendors and brick and mortar, so that the merchandise itself, which is so important in women's lives, and especially look what you just did in lingerie briefs with transgender and stuff. You need that exchange between touch, the senses, what it looks like. Right now it's, you know, not what it smells, but, or what it sounds, but you've got to have that touchy feel. It's like being a doctor. One of my daughters is a doctor. The other one is a dentist. You know, she needs to, it's not, she goes on Zoom, but she needs to see the patient. She needs to examine the patient. See,
But how do we do that, Kathy? I mean, you mentioned that your original, I don't want to go way back in time, but we were talking a little bit about how can a brand partner with you so they can be, they also have to watch their bottom lines too, because they won't be in business either. I always feel like it's a catch-22.
but it's not, Ellen. It's not necessary. No, I disagree. It's not a catch-22 if you look future. If you're just trying to survive today, you need water, you might need a little bit of bread. 1 second, what's the matter? Oh, all right, go behind me. Oh, by the way, this is Nicole, one of my main squeezers.
Hi, Nicole.
We love her. Sorry to bother you.
Okay, customer first.
But, you know, it's planning for the future. We buy 6 months in advance or 9 months in advance. The vendors have to look at what the world is going to be. It's nice to read all of this, and Amazon is making a friggin' fortune. We know that. I use it. You know, I couldn't find my disinfectant spray. I use it. But that's not, you can't do that with restaurants. You can't do that with bodies, intimacy. I mean, you know, it's not pornography on a video. You know, that only works for one person. But you've got to be able to exchange things. So I'm looking for the vendors to ask the important questions. What can we as a company do to help support you and our product? You know, whether it's, let's do a trunk show. Well, that's just fine. I've done many of them, but put it on a website, put it on a banner, talk about, you know, like a band. We're going to be in Poughkeepsie. We're going to be in Chicago. We're going to be in Miami. Talk about that on their websites so that it brings business to me. We have to be married. The vendors and brick and mortar have to perform a marriage that's going to stay. No divorces. They're divorcing us. You can't do that. I want marriage counseling. What will, right? Okay. So if they say, okay, you're going to do a trunk show, you're the one that tells our audience that it's a great product. They come to you, they feel it, whatever. How many people say, oh, geez, you know, I was here 3 years ago. I've lost 20 pounds. I had to come back. It was such a great bra. You were so good. I've been buying it online. You know, I hear it every day. Or they go, oh, see this? You know what? You fit me to the beige. It's in hot pink. No one's going to see it. I didn't buy it from you, but I wanted you to know I love this bra. So you wonder, is that the way it should be in terms of a marriage? Or do they want us to continue to show the good of what they do? For Waco, if it's the minimizer, or if it's the, awareness bra, or whatever, they're going to see it here first. Not just my store, but all of those thousands out there that believe in the product. When a woman comes into my store, I've got to show them what's good for them. And then they know, oh, I take calcium. I take calcium because my doctor says it's good for my bones. I wear this bra because I went into the Dane shop and she fitted me to this bra and it's good for me. I'm comfortable. I could wear it all day long. Or you know what? I'm bigger on one side than the other. They put a pad in, she took a little bit of a dart under the arm. Look at me. I feel great.
Are you suggesting, as I think you might be, that on their website, the brand websites, yes, they proffer your store and your ability to satisfy that need? And my only challenge, and I do agree with you, but my only challenge is how do they do that one store at a time? Or do they, what you were saying before, yes, if you're having a trunk show in 5 stores, you can say, here's the schedule, like the band schedule. Here's the schedule. I'm going to be in Morristown on this date at this shop. I'm going to be in this. But if they're not big enough, or they aren't scheduling 5 events, is it profitable? I'm just being a devil's advocate. Is it profitable to use your web space to only address one account at a time? I think it is, but
they're not just using my web space. They're putting
you're not your web space, their web space.
Well, they're putting it on theirs. It could be a banner. It could be introducing. However they want to put it, call me up. I've talked so much in the past 39 years. I'm shocked that I still have a set of larynx. There's so much that can be done.
So I think the bottom line of what you're saying and the message here, which I got obviously from you, even when we spoke on the phone several times, I think the bottom line of this conversation is they need to be they need to be more connected with you. They need to spend more time, not just here's my merchandise, where's your order, but what can we do to build this business? How can we be strategic partners together? I understand this very much, Kathy, even from my old lingerie briefs thing. This is how we function. How do we create strategic relationships with brands and stores? It's not just about, oh, here, please advertise here. We're not interested in that. And I get what you're saying. It's just very hard in very difficult times. But it has to be done. It has to be done.
That's the point.
Okay. Very much. This has been very enlightening.
Ellen, I loved every bit of it. And I didn't get to finish my wine. So as soon as we say goodbye, I'm going to chug it.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for your support. Over the course of the past 9 months, we at Curve have received much joy from the numerous emails and calls saying how much the Intimate Chat series helped them. Just knowing they were not alone encouraged many retailers to push ahead to persevere. The unity demonstrated by our beloved lingerie industry continues to inspire us daily. At Curve, we want to wish you all the best this holiday season and look forward with anticipation to seeing your smiling faces in 2021. Our series will start again in February, Please reach out to Ellen or myself if you wish to be on a panel next year. Until then, we wish you good sales and happy customers. Cheers.